everything has gone exactly like clockwork, and ISRO and all of us are very happy. There is a very high degree of confidence that we will achieve this target. Whatever was to be learned from Chandrayaan-3 has been learned, and it has been incorporated by ISRO with all improvements. Even the rest of the world to see that India has been able to achieve this. Everything has gone exactly like clockwork, and ISRO and all of us are very happy and very pleased to see how well the mission has gone so far. It is not surprising because ISRO had done this successfully for Chandrayaan-2, and so we definitely expected that it will exactly replicate this for Chandrayaan-3. But the most crucial stage is now. Now we have the lander module separated from the orbiter, and it will now make its own journey, getting closer to the surface, and then finally to make the final descent for the soft landing on 23rd. And we are all very much looking forward to it and very confident that it will go through smoothly because whatever was to be learned from Chandrayaan-2 has been learned, and it has been incorporated by ISRO with all improvements that are required, and therefore there is a very high degree of confidence that we will achieve this target, and it will be something that the whole nation will be very proud, and even the rest of the world to see that India has been able to achieve this.
Okay. So, orbiter has been separated with Vikrant lander and Pragyan rover. So, why is it that if we talk about technical details, that why is it this 5 days are very, very important because the landing is going to take place?
So these next few days are important because the lander module now has to be slowly brought to the correct position from where it can attempt to make the landing. So that is the last maneuver, and it has to go through correctly and smoothly so that it is at the right position from where the actual landing as operation, which is of course the most crucial phase, will be attempted. So I would say that the next 5 days are important, but the final thing is those last few, it's maybe half an hour or minutes when it actually makes the descent and makes the soft landing. That is really the most crucial part of any of this kind of mission.
You have pointed out a very important fact that the last few moments of the mission are going to be very crucial and sensitive. So, for people to know that after bringing the rover and lander to the position, as you said, after that ISRO is not going to operate the lander and rover, suppose that it will self-operate itself.
Yes, so what happens is that once it is in the right position and in the last maneuver of making the soft landing is done in an autopilot mode, because it is something that happens so quickly that it is not easily possible to control that from the earth, because it takes time for the signal to be relayed from the lander to the orbiter, from the orbiter to earth, and then you look at it and then you give a response that has to go from the earth to the orbiter, orbiter to the lander. That time delay can be crucial for avoiding any untoward thing. So this is all pre-programmed to take care of all the different eventualities that it may encounter based on the readings of the data that it is taking, whether it is the optical images or the various sensors and gauges which are telling it speed and the direction and so on. And it is programmed to automatically decide. So it is like on autopilot.
So you are explaining it with an example of how the most crucial part, even in a flight, is landing and a takeoff. Why so?
That is because the maximum changes happen during the flight, takeoff, and landing. There is a huge change in the power, the thrust, the speed, the height, everything is changing very quickly, and a lot of decisions have to be taken. Once you have reached the cruising altitude and you are just cruising, then the decisions are very few, and it is not a crucial phase. Once again, when you're ready to land, then there are a lot of things that one has to take care of, and different eventualities can happen which are more crucial, and therefore one has to be more alert, and it's a more critical phase of the operation. So as you will know that the maximum number of accidents that take place in an aircraft flight are during landing and takeoff. And the same applies here for this case.
Right. Very easy for our viewers to understand with this exam. My last question to you, sir, that on one hand, wherein India has witnessed successful mission Mars, mission Mangal, on the other hand, this is our third attempt for Chandrayaan, that is mission Moon. So, what all findings we are going to get if this proves to be successful, and what addition will it do to Indian space research?
So first is that this mission, if it is successful, will add to what Chandrayaan-1 and Chandrayaan-2 have accomplished already, which has been significant. Although Chandrayaan-2 failed in just the stage of the landing, but the rest of the mission targets were all achieved, and the orbiter of Chandrayaan-2 is still successfully working. In fact, it is going to be used as part of the operations in Chandrayaan-3. But coming back to the main point, Chandrayaan-3's success will demonstrate that India has learned how to take care of this critical aspect of making a soft landing on the moon, which will be useful for all future moon missions. And in addition, the rover will be doing certain amount of experiments to sample the region where it is landing to look for evidence of interesting molecules, for example, and trying to give the feedback of what it is learning. All of that knowledge and information will be used and folded in future moon missions for whatever the targets we set, whether it is to, for example, set up a base on the moon in the very long run, or to be able to use the resources of the moon for other purposes. All of this is in the future to see, but you cannot do all this unless you have the knowledge and the experience, and that is what these early missions will give us.